Good Wednesday to everybody out there. This is GardenStateWeather.com forecaster Robert Smith for the Northern Mid-Atlantic region's weather news portal, and this is our in-depth forecast analysis video discussion for Wednesday, July 11th, 2012. And we'll start this Wednesday morning out with just a few mid and upper level cloud cover. This is debris clouds from a disturbance that's been moving off the Virginia coast. We have a frontal system that is now draped across the Carolinas and out over the ocean. And some of these disturbances moving offshore are creating some high and mid-level clouds. But high pressure is moving into the metropolitan area and will build over the forecast region during today. Starting things out this morning in the city, in New York proper at 74 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, and down to Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. It's also 74 this morning under generally partly cloudy to cloudy skies. And these clouds will begin to break up, and the sun will become a little bit more predominant as we get through the morning hours. And our view this morning of Long Beach Island here in Beach Haven, New Jersey, in Ocean County. We've got generally sunshine trying to get over the horizon here, brightness here and there, few low and mid-level clouds, mostly mid-level cloudiness here. You can see the swells and the waves, very pleasant, very light on the water this morning, with generally a cloudy sky overhead, but sky should brighten up and temperatures going back up into the 80s. Nice beach day ahead. Start things out with the water vapor loop this morning. Here's our semi-zonal or semi-stationary front, quasi-stationary front here, draped across the Carolinas and then off the Pamlico Sound, the North Carolina coastal water south of the Chesapeake here. And some mid and high level moisture still stuck in over the New Jersey and the northern mid-Atlantic region, but notice all these blacks and reds. It's high pressure, drying, descending air, and as the air dries out, we're going to see some more sunshine today, but it's going to take a few hours, but some of these clouds will begin to break up, and then convective clouds will probably form again over northwestern New Jersey, just much like they did over interior sections the last couple of days. And it'll be an onshore flow. This week, trough will be able to scoot on out of here as this disturbance off the Virginia and North Carolina coastal waters heads further out to sea, and that will help to push the front a little bit further south, and there'll be more clearing evident during this afternoon, again with cumulus clouds on the uptick across hillier sections of inland regions of northwest Jersey and back into the Poconos. And the latest WRF composite cloud and reflectivity forecast going forward from this morning, just coming in from off the Penn State eWall site. We see that low cloud cover here across a good chunk of the northern mid-Atlantic. As we go through the day, the clouds begin to break up a little bit, but it's going to take a little bit, probably not till early this afternoon, when we start to see some of that cloud cover begin to break up. According to the latest modeling here, even by the afternoon hours, it looks like a lot of cloud cover is still evident, with some breaks in the area, especially over the coastal regions. Interior sections may hang on to a little bit more cloud cover, as evident on this modeling here, due to the dew points being in the 60s and pooling a little bit higher relative humidity and moisture aloft. But as we can see, as we get into the nighttime hours and early morning hours tomorrow, the disturbance that is now off of one of these waves here coming off the Carolina and Virginia coast is continuing to produce an onshore flow, and that's keeping some of the cloud cover evident across the region. As we get to the day on Thursday, it looks like a bit more sunshine is going to be evident, particularly over most of the region outside of the New York City metropolitan area. Again, some cumulus clouds. And one feature that is noted here is one of the waves of low pressure is now well off into the Atlantic, off the New Jersey and southern New England coastal waters, and the winds will continue onshore, but they'll be pretty light. A different vantage point here is to take a look at here we go, the WRF-NAM composite radar reflectivity and cloud cover. These are basically scattered high clouds across the forecast region this morning, and the modeling still showing some of the lower clouds, which would be the cumulus variety here, as that wave of low pressure and rain associated with it remains off the northern Carolina coast and then back out into the Atlantic coastal waters. The winds again are going to be onshore today. They're going to be kind of light, and we're expecting some of that moisture to get into the coastal regions, but predominantly a partly sunny to mostly sunny day. Again, over interior sections, we're expecting a lot more cumulus development again this afternoon, and it's possible that we could break the cap across northern sections for a weak shower or a weak thunder shower, and it would be widely scattered, as we can see here on the modeling. And then as we get into the evening hours, as the sky and winds decouple, we could still see a brief shower across the Pocono region, right over, let's say, west of 80 there, the Delaware Water Gap, moving into Warren County, or probably just staying there and then fizzling out. We could even see a few of these rain showers remaining over the area. But tonight, skies should decouple, become partly cloudy to clear across most of the region. And I think the model here could be overdoing the threat for a shower or a thunderstorm over the region, as high pressure will be in control of the forecast. But the modeling still indicating some low and mid-level cloudiness across the area on Thursday morning just before sunrise, and a partly sunny day setting up on Thursday. And it's going to be warm too, with temperatures back up into the upper 80s. In fact, today, if we can break a lot of this low and mid-level cloudiness around the area, temperatures should warm up nicely again back into the mid-80s. The more cloud cover, temperatures will hold into the lower 80s. The less cloud cover, temperatures will be rebounding back into the mid and upper 80s. And then lots of clear skies around here on Thursday morning, Thursday afternoon. Again, we're expecting mainly partly cloudy weather. It's going to be an interesting forecast going forward, because basically this frontal boundary is going to return as a warm front over the weekend, and that's going to mean temperatures probably getting back up and over 90 degrees in many areas. Even around the coast, temperatures are probably going to get into the upper 80s too, and probably near 90 degrees. Would not be surprised if a few locations got into the low and mid 90s, especially as we approach early next week. The problem with this is that this front, as it moves to the north, is going to create high precipitable water values, and we're just going to be on the northern edge of this building Bermuda High early next week. So there's going to be disturbances in this flow and a couple of weak cold fronts. Let's go through the forecast maps here and show you what the HPC is forecasting for fronts and pressures. And as we get through the early morning hours tomorrow morning, high pressure along the coast and over the New Jersey, New York City metropolitan area proper. That cold front, that semi-stationary front rather, draped across the southeastern states and off the Carolina and Virginia coast. And that's going to create a few waves of low pressure moving out to sea. But high pressure, drying air basically in the mid and upper levels, so we're not really expecting any precipitation. Light northeast flow on the waters, good weather to go to the beach. High pressure still in control, and then the high begins to build over the top of us on Friday and then moves further offshore. And the frontal boundary will be approaching as a warm front now as we get through the day on Saturday. It probably will not get through here until Sunday morning just north of the area, but this is where the problem comes in. We're going to have a few disturbances in southeastern Canada, which will become the focal point of an upper low across the region next week. And as that happens, it's going to send some of these weak disturbances and cold fronts trying to get them through the area. The first cold front tries to get through the area Sunday night and Monday morning, and a second cold front gets through the area on Tuesday, but they kind of wash out. Notice how high pressure is still ridging in and trying to build back into the Mississippi and Ohio River Valley. That's going to mean a surge of winds from the south and southwest, dew points getting into the uncomfortable levels of the upper 60s to low 70s, and that's going to make relative humidities very high, very sticky, very uncomfortable weather with a partly sunny sky, and also the threat for showers and thunderstorms, especially in the heating of the afternoon and evening. And some of these showers and thunderstorms could produce locally heavy rainfall, especially near frontal boundaries like the warm front approaching on Saturday night and Sunday morning, and again with cold frontal passages or near the stationary boundary across the region early next week. And we'll just have to monitor these disturbances as we go through the period. European model guidance from the Penn State EWOL site going into about the next 7 days or so. Here's our ridge of high pressure building in across the region and off the mid-Atlantic coast, or Bermuda High. But notice how this by the time we get into Sunday, we see this upper low trying to cut off here and another front approaching. How we're going to be on the northern edge, basically, of this heat ridge, or Bermuda High, actually, not necessarily heat ridge, but Bermuda High. And there's going to be disturbances in the upper level flow, especially across the northern New England area, the Great Lakes, and southeastern Canada. It's going to allow for frontal systems to get close, and that's going to keep the boundary very close north or south of the northern mid-Atlantic states into early next week. There'll be days where we're not going to see much precipitation, but depending on where these disturbances set up, by especially early part of next week, will determine if we're going to, how much rainfall or thunderstorm activity we're going to get. They're not going to be washouts, but there are definitely periods in here that are signaling the problem. Now, the winds are going to come in from the west and southwest, and that should promote a lot of clearing around here at times, especially early next week with hot temperatures in the upper 80s and mid 90s and very high relative humidity values, especially in the afternoon, where any thunderstorms can definitely pop and drop some heavy doses of water. So we're going to have to monitor this, but we're going into a period right now, and we can see even in the modeling next week. Sorry, we lost that there. See in the modeling next week at 2:40, we see another trough developing across the eastern United States, the southeastern Canada rather, and that's going to keep the heights a little bit lower again. So we're going to be on this boundary, and we're just going to have to monitor day to day how strong we get with the Bermuda High presence over us and these upper level disturbances and cold fronts trying to make their way through weekly, as is the case across southern New England and the northern mid-Atlantic. And I can see through the modeling and even the National Weather Service is keeping a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast, particularly on Saturday night and Sunday morning and Sunday and Monday proper. They're not washouts, partly sunny skies, humid conditions. They're keeping the temperatures a little bit lower, but the model guidance is still pointing to the upper 80s and low 90s. So we're going to probably stick around either side of 90 with very high relative humidities and dew points in the upper 60s and lower 70s early next week. So it's going to be an uncomfortable situation, and we're just going to have to monitor day to day where the boundaries are going to lie and what kind of convection we're going to have. But with the atmosphere being so high in relative humidity values next week, any of those showers and thunderstorms could drop copious amounts of rain in a short period of time. So that's the theme going forward, and I'll be back with you again on Thursday morning with the latest. For GardenStateWeather.com, I'm forecaster Robert Smith. You make it a great day.